She's live. We're waiting for a bit of action, waiting to see what happens.
We've watched her grow up on our screens for the past 20 years, so how will she be remembered? Let's ask television critic for the Sydney Morning Herald, Michael Idato. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning.
Are you a bit emotional?
I'm a bit emotional. It's a really interesting day. I mean, it's 20 years, so it's a very long period of time. I mean, people are making retirement jokes, and this girl's in her late 20s. It's sort of, it's really, really strange, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Why do you, I mean, look, we love her. She's a television character. She's leaving, but we really take it seriously. We do here, don't we? When, you know, Molly passed on all those years ago. And why do you think Sally has been so popular? Why do we love her so much?
I think particularly to this, I mean, when a lot of characters, a lot of really well-loved characters go, there's always a lot of emotion. What makes Kate Ritchie particularly unique is that we watched her grow up. So there's a paternal or maternal affection. When you watch, it's like anyone. I mean, when you meet adults in your life, you become friends, and that's how those relationships work. But when a child grows up around you, you always have a tremendous amount of affection for that child because you've seen them in the innocence of their childlike state, and you've seen them mature into a fully formed person. So we've, as a country and a culture in a way, we've watched this girl grow up from a very small child to a beautiful young woman, and I think that generates a lot of affection.
And we've gone through the highs and lows of her life, haven't we? The weddings, Flynn died.
Several weddings, yeah.
Yeah. What are your favourite episodes?
Look, I mean, I think with Sally, I mean, it's a strange thing. I've been a television critic as long as Kate Ritchie's been an actress, so it's weird. But I would say for me, I remember watching the show really early. I always loved the Milko storyline. I loved the imaginary friend, and that sort of became a little bit of a joke over the years, in a way. And so it's kind of the way certainly the last episode that went to air this year had a sort of a great twist, I think, for viewers, which kind of already has a lot of buzz generated around kind of what the story will be and how it will unfold for her departure.
And of course, 20 years of her playing the role of Sally is a record, isn't it?
It is. It's a long,
Book of Records or something?
In it, well, there are a couple of cases in the United States where adult actors have been in soap operas and have been on for 25, 30, I think 37 or something years. But for such a young actor to be in a role, and certainly in Australia, it's a record. Yeah. She's been on the show for 20 years, along with Ray Ma, I should say also. But the difference, of course, being here, she was absolutely. But I mean, she was a child, you know. So he came to the show as an adult and remains an adult. She certainly came there as a very, very small person.
So what can she move on to now?
It's sort of tricky. I think in the short term, I think radio is a great career move for her, because I think a lot of people in television will always
So she'll give up the
associate
teaching?
Yeah.
Right,
she
okay.
will.
All right,
because I think a lot of people in television will associate her with Sally Fletcher. So, and it happens a lot. You know, you find actors in the United States who kind of develop a kind of a tone for playing cops, very often get cast as cops or authority type figures. I mean, typecasting, not in its most negative form, but it is a prevailing culture in casting. There is you'll probably find over years people will associate Kate Ritchie with a type. She will always, she'll always be inclined, or casting directors will be inclined to cast her as a good girl.
So not sort of acting, I guess, because she went to Takes Two, pardon me, and sort of into more, what do I call it? Not acting roles, but, you know, presenting roles. That's the word I was after. What do I do again? Yeah. So that's quite a difference.
I think so, and I think I think she's a very serious actress, and I think she's very keen to continue to work as an actress. So I think there'll always be other things like that on the periphery. But I think if you ask her about it, her destiny, very much she sees, is continuing work as an actress.
Yeah, and I think one of the secrets is Home and Away tackles really interesting issues, doesn't it? It's always current. It always reflects issues that kids go through. Do you think her leaving will detract from the series at all? Will she be hard to replace?
Look, I think she'll be impossible to replace in and of herself. I do think, though, there is what I've always found, and it's never been disproven to me in 20 years, but when you boil it down in television, no star is ever bigger than a show. Yep. No show is ever bigger than a network. I think that's like a universal law of television. But yeah, look, I think in the short term, there'll be a massive vacuum. I think people really associate her with the show. They associate the show with her. And certainly, I mean, we talk about her being in the show for 20 years, but really, she's grown up in sort of in the background for parts of that. Really, for the last 5 years, a huge chunk of the show's stories have revolved around Sally. So certainly, in that sense, I mean, that's a huge loss. I mean, she kind of there is a gap there. But it's, I think, like all soap operas. I mean, they survive, they go on. For 15 years, when she was a small girl, the focus was other characters, and I think that focus will, like most long-running shows, shift.
Well, as sad as we are, we're very excited for her. It's a whole new adventure, and she's just a delightful, lovely young lady, and we wish her well. I just think the way she conducts herself, and she's just gorgeous, so...
And whatever she does, it's good that she has that teaching as a background that she can always go back to, which will be good.
Yes. Michael, lovely to talk to you.
Great to speak to
Thank
you.
you for joining us. He has a little problem differentiating between Sally and Kate.
What are you talking about? 14 past 7.